We're excited. We are excited to have you all here. I'm just going to give the folks who are joining just a few minutes or seconds at least to join. I see them streaming in as we speak. Stephanie, it's great to be with you.
Great to be with you, Rich, as always.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this. A virtual fireside chat. It's warm and sunny. Exactly. It's warm and sunny where I am. I'm sure it's very warm.
It's warm and sunny where I am as well too.
We don't really need the fire, but we'll do the fireside chat nonetheless. Maybe while I let the folks join, I'll go over a few logistical points. Everyone other than me and you, obviously, Stephanie, have been automatically muted. You may have seen the alert that the session is being recorded, and there will be a link available to those who, heaven forbid, can't stay for the whole amount, or for colleagues or others who couldn't join the live session here today to view the whole part. And then if you submit any comments, questions, thoughts, in either the chat or the Q&A box down there, they should be on the bottom part of your Zoom. I will sift through those in quasi-real time, and I'll do my best to ask as many as I can to Stephanie. So those are the logistics. But why don't we get going? So as I said, pleasure to have you, Stephanie. I've been a big fan of eXp Commercial and of yours for a while. Maybe before we get into the meat of the discussion, I'll just give a quick intro of myself. My name is Rich Sarkis. I'm the co-founder and executive chairman of Reonomy. We are a commercial real estate data company, I guess virtually based in New York at this point, pretty much scattered throughout the US and even in some cases throughout the world. We cover a number of commercial properties throughout the US, and essentially anything that's not a single family home. And I'll get into a little bit more about what we do and how we do it in the next slide. But Stephanie, why don't you give an intro about yourself?
Thanks, Rich. And again, thank you all for having me. I am the director of operations for eXp Commercial. I've been in this industry for 23 years, right out of college, and a true passion for building brands, but also agent development. I've spent my career not only as a producer and running a successful real estate team in 3 states, but also really investing my time into agent development and making sure that we are moving this industry forward and not being recognized as that dinosaur, so to speak. So again, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Yes, great to have you. So again, this is not meant to be an infomercial on Reonomy, but just to orient folks, from my perspective, I've been a lifetime entrepreneur. Started Reonomy almost a decade ago at this point. We cover the core entities that matter most in the world of commercial real estate. That's obviously properties. As I said, we cover anything that's not a single family home, duplex and above, warehouse, industrial, office, vacant land, etc. But it also includes the people, the companies, and the events and transactions that matter, right? So, and we've built a proprietary knowledge graph that links all of those entities together and delivers insights based on that knowledge graph to our customers, such as eXp. Many, if not all, of the brokerages leverage our enterprise data solutions, our web application solutions, integrations that we have with other systems, such as a Salesforce CRM. So really excited to talk data, technology, et cetera, with Stephanie, with you, Stephanie, and I'll bring my perspective for the decade that I've been involved in running and growing Reonomy. As I like to joke, I had a nice luscious head of hair when I started Reonomy, and this is what a decade in CRE tech has done to me. So that's the perspective I'll be bringing.
Awesome. And, Rich, thank you so much for your all support and partnership, because, as we started to stand up eXp Commercial off of a platform of eXp World Holdings that has been around for a decade, but on that residential sector with eXp Realty. About this time last year is when we started doing the research, and when we uncovered Reonomy needed to be one of those tools that we brought in, because we spent a good 4 months interviewing commercial brokers and agents across this country before we even opened our virtual doors, so to speak, and launched in over 50 states. We are currently in 48 states and counting. We've had a 108% growth rate in agent count, and we've only been in many of these states just a handful of weeks and maybe just about 4 months. We've got 8 services with 6 business lines. We will have international growth as we follow those same steps that eXp Realty has gone into, where we are represented in over 15 countries. We are all about commercial technology and tools like Reonomy, like Build Out, like SkySlope Agent Hub, AIR, so that we can build the proper toolbox so that agents and brokers can come onto our platform and truly excel. And the goal here is that everyone earns more because we are all owners of this company. 57% of eXp Commercial is owned by its agents and brokers. So again, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And it's funny, you mentioned opening your virtual doors. One of my first experiences, if not my first experience, with you, Stephanie, and with the eXp Commercial was, based on this slide, you see it, literally being in a virtual world, and it's powered by a company that the eXp World Holdings bought. I have to guilty admission that I spent an inordinate amount of time customizing my avatar to look good, but clearly there's something going on with the eXp Commercial. You guys are not just paying lip service to technology and the cutting edge. You're putting your money where your mouth is, and you're obviously doing things differently. I think in a lot of ways, you've got the benefit of hindsight and a blank canvas and saying, how can we actually make 21st century decisions as we build and scale this platform? So talk to us a little bit about why your team is investing in this type of digital technology, from the onset and so heavily.
Absolutely. Well, and when Glenn Sanford founded eXp Realty back in 2009, that was the cusp of the economic crisis, right? And so as he looked at the footprint and owning brokerages, franchise models, what was the biggest cost and what was that overhead? It was all the brick and mortar space that it took, and then all the staff that was inside of those spaces that was eating up the profitability. It was, even though the market crashed and agents and brokers were doing less transacting, those bills still had to be paid. And so this model was his vision of how can we build a real estate company for the agents that puts more money back into the agents' pockets and do it in a way where we get rid of the silos. And one of the most tremendous things of what we've been able to accomplish is having that virtual world and that space that you've been, inside of. You can see how we've shrunk the world and the true collaboration that we're able to do, just like you and I have never met in person, but we've gotten to know each other over time, absolutely can be done without having to walk into that brick and mortar space to do so.
Yeah.
And so when we're able to bring the innovation and the technology necessary to transact business all over the globe, this is just one of the many parts, as well as data and all the other things to stay relevant, but to scale and to grow exponentially. I love the opportunity. You came into our shareholder summit last month, and that was your first experience in, but we had a conversation about Reonomy, and we spoke to over 40,000 people when we did that. And just imagine back in the day, I mean, we love to see each other in person. We do. We absolutely love to do, but the world still goes on. And so the purpose to truly stand up a separate brokerage, eXp Commercial, based for commercial business brokering, mergers and acquisitions, it only made sense to do it during COVID, because that's when it became, and it resonated with people, that you don't need to walk into an office in order to build a company globally.
Right. I think there was this acceptance where it was almost like it played into the hands of that virtual world. And I must admit, initially, obviously, and I had months and months and months of Zoom, Google Meet, Hangouts, etc. But when I first sort of heard about this virtual world, I was like, wow, that's going to be interesting. Or is it going to be meaningfully different from an interaction perspective to a Zoom? And I have to say, it really is, right? Because you literally, you walk around and you're face to face with another person, and then if somebody else comes in, you sort of like, again, it's like social. You move back so that they've got room in the conversation, and you saw that virtual stage, etc. So, I think it really was fabulous, and I think also it's part of the EXP brand, right? It's not just around, hey, we're doing it from a marketing perspective, or we want to say the right things to attract agents, et cetera. I think it's really in the DNA of how you guys are scaling EXP Commercial. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about how important it is and how you're really inculcating it into the DNA, into the brand of the firm, and by extension, I guess, the agents who, as you said, you've had a huge agent growth, and making sure that brand permeates throughout the whole ecosystem.
Well, and I think that everybody knows that you have to have a level of engagement to be successful. And
Right.
what we've done with that virtual world, and what Virbela has done, and Virbela, a lot of other businesses and universities operate in that space. What we're able to do is bring people in to do business in minutes. All the years that have gone by, what have we done? We've all gotten faster at business. I mean,
Right.
sometimes that's not always great, but to keep up with the times and to stay ahead of the curve, you've got to be ahead of the curve. And so when you're able to not close your doors for a national pandemic, or not close your doors because of the hours of operation, and we can have 15 countries in there, soon to be 21. We can have all the United States. We can have agents in there talking about product specialty types, having promotion of their off-market properties, being able to teach one another the best practices and how to land and build business. To have Reonomy teach every single week live, so that our agents are taking complete
Right.
use of your product, because that's what we do. So long, I think the commercial space it's just been antiquated. It's just been, let's all get in a boardroom and have a meeting. But business isn't happening in that boardroom. Business is happening all over the world. And if you want to plug into an opportunity and have more opportunities, you've got to plug into people, because this is a relationship business. It's always been. And why not plug in to 50,000+ relationships?
Right.
That's growing at a tune of 1,000 agents per week.
And so you named it, you said it, right? It's been, CRE has been around for a long time. A lot of people have been making a lot of money. But yet, when you look at it, yes, it's been ripe with antiquated processes, practices, inefficiencies, et cetera. As we've mentioned, you've got the benefit of hindsight and the benefit of sort of saying, okay, let's build this modern commercial brokerage on a modern tech stack and data. Can you talk to us and to me a little bit more about those antiquated practices, how you sifted through them, how you decided, did you decide to get rid of all of them, or did you say, you know what, these things, to your point, face-to-face meetings are always going to be important, and even if it's not the most efficient, we still need that level of human interaction, so we'll keep this, but the way we're doing listings or marketing a property, that we can do away with, and we can really adopt a modern stack. Talk to us a little bit more about how you sifted through this sea of antiquated practices and decided what to pivot, basically.
Absolutely. And, a lot of this, I'm going to have to come back to Reonomy on, because one of the things that I learned, we hired a third-party market research company. And one of the things that I learned was that agents and brokers in commercial real estate space they honestly were doing business still the old school way. When someone tells me they're spending a week on a valuation of a property, or that they're logging into 17 different platforms to get to one answer, I'm thinking to myself, whoa, wait a minute here. People need to dive into what's right in front of them. And so one of the ways with Reonomy and the use of Reonomy, we have, and I'll even speak to my personal real estate team, who's got over $500,000 in listings right now, and 240 million of those is because of your algorithms. Because of that probability of sale, because that we have filtered in what it is we're looking for, we have been able to get those emails from you all. We have been able to reach out to those, because Reonomy's told us this, and we've been able to do that business and to get that business and to list that business. The old antiquated way, of picking up the phone, cold call, hey, it works. But also too, you've got to spread your market out. We've just gotten through a pandemic where maybe offices haven't done so well. Mm-hmm. So maybe you plug into a company that can help you pivot with the agent development that we're able to do. When you're affiliated with an agent-owned company, and we're all shareholders, we invest in one another. I mean, I want Paul in Minnesota to be successful. Why? Because we're business partners. And so the way that we're able to bring in the technology that makes sense, instead of having 17 different avenues to go to, that's just noise. Cut through the noise. Let's do business faster. Let's do evaluation faster. Let's get the comps, click a few buttons, and have all that research right in front of us. And that's why I've been a massive fan of Reonomy, because it's truly made me money, and it's truly made the agents that we are providing it to more money. And Rich, we've had these conversations where I've had a lot of people say, but I haven't heard of Reonomy just yet. And I'm like, I want you to try it for 5 days and you tell me. And then immediately they're raving fans because they learn to use it the way to land them business. And so I think the traditional commercial practitioner sits and waits, or they wait for that brokerage to pass the lead on to them. They're so used to the 9 to 5, I'll wait for it to come. What we do with agent development is teach them to use what we've provided to truly build and grow their own business in a way that they can scale it, not just in that local market, but they can scale it all across the US and all the other countries that we're going into. And without data and algorithms and all the fancy stuff that your product does behind the scenes, it's almost next to impossible, because during COVID, the other thing that we found out was traditional commercial real estate brokerages were scaling back. They didn't want to spend any more money. For me and for us, and Jim Wong, the president of eXp Commercial, we knew we had to go the opposite way. If we want to build a successful commercial real estate company for today's age and the future, we have to provide what's necessary, because it's not about agent count as much as it's about production and making sure that those agents we have are producers and are established in this industry. And that's why we strategically, got together with what we needed to make that happen and not scale back.
Yeah, and I think to that end, I mean, it is a relative rarity. I think we are seeing others start to think about this, but the way that you've centralized, those resources, functions, et cetera, and to put it plainly, when you join eXp Commercial as a broker, you get access to the tools, and you don't have to worry about cost and all that stuff. And to your point, it helps make them productive. Now, obviously, there's training involved, and you can't just expect that the system's going to magically make you money, and you still have to pick up the phone and dial, but maybe the cold call isn't a cold call, it's a warm call now, right? Because you're calling the right person at the right time, you're informed about their hyper-local market, et cetera. But, that notion of centralizing all of that, both financially and through, here is your stack, that's a big decision, and especially in the face of a pandemic. And so I think you started to touch on it, but can you talk a little bit more about how that decision came to be, how you also start to measure the ROI, right? The return on that considerable investment, not just for you, but also for the brokers to make sure that, they're able to make more money, because ultimately, that's what
Right.
brokers want to do.
I want to share a story with you, and I'm not going to say any names, but the reason why the technology partnerships are so important is for this exact very reason. A couple days ago, my phone's blowing up. Another data person out there or company out there is trying to get some information on a property. This is a property that my team actually, we developed, we invested, we've sold it. And they're trying to get the information. They're trying to so that they can put it into their system and sell it back to us. And I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. It was back in August. It's 54 different parcels. I don't know. I'm building something here. And I'm really dedicated to our agents. And so didn't return their call. So then I get an email. Stephanie, could you please confirm? And all of what they listed out was wrong. It wasn't accurate. It was so far off. So I replied and said, all of this is false. None of this is accurate. What I really wanted to say to them, Rich, which I didn't, because I'm respectful, and we all need to have great relationships in the industry. But what I really wanted to say to them was, why don't you subscribe to Reonomy? Because what I did, just to make sure my belief in your system was the same, I went on to my Reonomy account on my mobile phone and I look up these parcels, and you all had already published that information back in August when the transaction took place.
Wow.
Here it is, June 23rd yesterday, and they're still trying to get this information, and it's about to be a year old. And so the way that we teach agent development, and the way that I've always known to service my clients, and all the agents with the EXP Commercial are also my clients, we have to provide that level of service that actually absolutely makes sense. And we will get our money back in investing in these tools and spending the money for these tools, because the agents will be able to have the information, to have the knowledge to go out and be professional, successful commercial brokers and agents.
And how are you measuring that? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Look, that wasn't a plant. I didn't know exactly where you're going with that, but it's always great to hear that we have the validated, timely information. I do want to pull on that thread that you're talking about, saying, as a platform, you will get the money back that you're investing, obviously, and it's a win-win, right? Because if brokers do well and make more money, then EXP Commercial is doing well and making more money. How are you measuring that, right? Because heaven forbid a broker is not leveraging the tools, is expecting that the tool would auto-magically, dial the phone for them, et cetera. So how are you ensuring that you are still being disciplined and calculating, so to speak, with your spend and making the right decisions?
Everything that we do, with as much technology as our own company has, that's exactly what we're doing, is measuring accountability. But 76% of our agents cap. And that's, I want to explain that for a second, because this will give you the level of productivity. So we're an 80-20 split, and the cap's 20K. So once they've paid that 20% equals 20K, they're 100% for the rest of the year. 76% have cap. That is what we measure this on. And so, with all the accountability and the advisors, anyone that gets, I don't know if Rich, if I've ever shared my story with you, but when I was 21 and graduated college, all I wanted to do was be a commercial broker, just get into the commercial industry. I had a love for it. I was supposed to go to law school, and I could not get an opportunity to join a commercial brokerage because nobody wanted to invest anything into me. They looked at me as a 21-year-old that wasn't going to give anything back. I look at it as the opposite, because here's what I know. The average commercial broker and agent in this country is 62 years old. It's time to add additional talent to that. I want to lower that bar. I want to lower that average. When I see statistics where 2 out of 100 licensees that really try to be successful at commercial real estate, only 2 succeed, I want to see 80 succeed. We're never going to get to that 100% number because not everybody's built the same way. But if someone has that drive and that passion, and they can plug into agent development and our accelerate program and truly learn the accountability, truly learn to, we've got great coaches and just plug into it. We make it so much easier. And I think our level of success will be that much greater because nobody even has to leave their home and drive across town to get to an office to attend a class or a development seminar. We're doing all of that in-house because of eXp World. And so that's the way we're trying to change. And so we look for strategic partners that are also innovative, who also can give us something new and is constantly investing. We're constantly investing in our company, and we look for the partners that will invest
crucial.
into their product too.
That's
and
really
so you all investing and constantly evolving it, that is exactly, why the contacts first started to happen in the first place, because you can't stay stale in this industry.
Right.
You can't sell, you already know this, Rich, but you can't sell me the same product 7 years from now, right? I mean, we have to keep evolving it.
And I think you're hitting on something very important, because a lot of folks in your position, and some of your peer organizations, et cetera, they almost are at a point right now where there's solution overload. There's so many other, it's almost like an infomercial overload. There's so many infomercials popping up, companies popping up saying, we can do this, we can do that. I always like to think about this scene in There's Something About Mary, that Ben Stiller movie, when he picks up the hitchhiker, and the hitchhiker's like, or he gets picked up and he's like, hey, I've got this great business idea. It's called the 7-minute abs. And then Ben Stiller's like, well, what if somebody comes up with the 6-minute abs? What are you going to do? And he goes nuts. He's like, why would anyone do that? I mean, we're almost in that space right now when there's like the 8-minute abs, 6-minute abs, 5-minute abs.
Right.
How do you make sense of all of these different solutions, some of which, can be really valuable, and to your point, can help make the brokers more money, the firm more money, but others would be frankly a bad mistake, because they might not be around in 6 months, and you don't want to put all this, dollars in marketing effort behind the partnership. So how do you think about evaluating partners?
So, one of the things about being part of a publicly traded company, with the success that we've had, on the realty side for so long, obviously Jim Wong and I get reached out to daily. We can demo practically any product that exists out there when it comes to commercial real estate tools, because we're getting reached out. And I do take the time to demo a lot of those products because I want to see what's going on. I will tell you that 76% of them approximately do one of something, but Reonomy already does it, right?
So just to be clear, you're actually sitting in on the demo yourself.
I sit
you want to
in on a
touch and
demo.
feel the product. You want to make
touch
sure
and feel it.
Absolutely.
And that's the big thing is that, when we were looking for, the right fit for data, we demoed a lot. There's a lot out there, Rich, but there's,
Tell me.
There's a lot out there, but it made the most sense with what we're trying to accomplish to go with the real time. We live in the real time, and we're trying to also move in and live in that future. I don't want to purchase inundated in old news, right? I'm not going to watch the same newscast twice in a row. Why do that? It's old news. And so we needed something that I saw and that Jim saw and our agent saw that was going to innovate quicker, because that's what you all have done in a short time. When I was looking at CRMs for eXp Commercial, not only was that one of the questions that we made sure that our third-party market research company asked, but we also demoed several of them. And we decide actually to work with when something's not doing what I want to see happen. My question is, okay, I love everything you've got. but I need to see this algorithm built in. Can you do it? Will you do it? Yes, we will. And the reason why it has to be that answer is because I say that all day long to our agents. Yes, we will. We listen to our agents. They are our clients.
Right.
They are out there servicing clients, but we listen to our agents and our brokers. And so when I met with Reonomy and saw all the greatness of it, and we talked about a few things, we talked about some really cool things that you're going to be pushing out, I believe. But you listened. You want to know what the market
that's
thinks.
key.
You want to have that feedback. Yeah. And what I love is that, with your sales team, top-notch service, top-notch customer service, top-notch trainers, top-notch everybody that we've worked with. But I said to them early on, I said, listen, I want to make sure that we are sending out surveys. Better yet, Reonomy, I want you to send out surveys to our agents, because if somebody is struggling with someone or with the product, we need to know, because more than likely it's a training issue.
For sure.
And we just need to give them more time, right? But if we keep hearing something, then we need to all sit down as a team, and maybe this is something that Reonomy can change. Now, the great news is that those NPS scores that come back on those surveys, everyone is thrilled. And we've had a couple of people that needed a little additional training because, come on, it's an expensive product, but it's not that hard to use.
Right.
And, but that's what I love. I look for strategic partners that can service our agents the way we service our agents. The agents are our clients, and that's who we need to make happy. And if we can't bring them products that elevate their business and grow their business, then it's not worth having. And when a strategic partner or technology reaches out to me and they say, well, we need 50,000 up front, for the first 6 months, I'm like, no, because there's a lot of those too. There's a lot of these pop-ups, and you don't know if they're going to be around, and you have to, we have to trust each other and know that we're going to be in business. And so there's a lot of that, but I have demoed, Jim Long and I probably together have demoed over 300 technology products for commercial real estate. And I'm going to tell you, 76% of them, Reonomy already does. I don't want to have 30 different tools in our toolbox. Who could ever log in and learn that? Right. It doesn't make sense. I want to have one that's the most powerful, and that's why we went into business and chose you all.
No, look, I really appreciate that, and I know there's other parts of your tech stack as well, but I think the thing that really resonated in what you just said is listening. If that company is going to listen to you just the same way you're listening to your brokers, and we listen to your brokers, you're gracious in saying that it's mostly around training, but there are times where Reonomy doesn't get it right, and we haven't gotten it right from a data perspective, because it's hard, right? There is no golden standard. There's no source of truth in the world of commercial real estate data. And so I think the key for us has always been listening to the customer, being, low ego, and not just saying, hey, we have got something that's going to change the way you work, and you have to change the way you work, and we're right and you were wrong, etc. Saying, here's something that we've heard you say you need. Here's the first version. Will you try it? And that's how a lot of our new products, like the portfolio product that you guys are excited about and the rest of the industry is excited about, where we can not just tell you, here's everything you need to know on a specific commercial asset, but you flip it on its head and you say, here's a potential owner, here's a buyer, here's a seller, here's a company.
Right.
Give me their entire portfolio across all the various LLCs that they have and all that. That came from us listening to, you guys, our users, our customers.
And what I love about and here's a great testimony to that. One of our agents, I tell you what, I'm going to brag on him, because 6 weeks in the business, he used that portfolio. I mean, he's utilized that to the extent that he ended up with an opportunity of a portfolio owner in 32 different states because of that. And so one of the things is that, again, plugging into it and truly learning how to use it, we can coach, we can script agents, we can set them up for success. But again, he wouldn't have ever had that opportunity for something that large without going through the training with Ann Grace
Yep.
in our world and learning how to do that.
That's great. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, and we love to hear those success stories. And you know, you mentioned Anne Grace; she's been great working with you guys as well. And that's a big part of it as well, because the technology, the data, those are obviously very important pillars. But the customer centricity, the service, and you know, just being human to one another, as you said,
Yeah.
as two companies, but recognizing that there's also, you know, humans involved, I think is very important. I know we're almost coming up on time. We've gotten a few questions on people wanting a demo and wanting to sign up for a trial, etc. The best way to do that, frankly, is just email sales@reonomy.com. If you're part of EXP Commercial, you know, Stephanie, I think they can loop into you and your team and get plugged in that way. But maybe in the few minutes we have left, I'm getting a couple of questions around what's next for EXP Commercial. Obviously, a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. You've invested a lot. You're starting to get really strong traction. Well, what is next for you in the shortish term?
You know, we will be open in all 50 states in just a couple of weeks. But now, as we really focus on agent development and investing in our agent success, we are going to start looking at the global reaches. You know, we've got Realty open in 15 countries, and as we follow suit and get all of North America open, but truly, you know, continue down the road of evolution to bring more value, you know, to the industry, with a lot of agent development things that are coming up, and to have you back in, Rich, and keep talking about all the greatness that you all are doing, because that's what gets people excited, is to see that there is a future in this business. We've got an amazing, you know, something for me is, you know, being a woman in this industry, you know, we're kind of like that minority, but we're
Sure.
seeing at EXP Commercial that, you know, we're going to change that as well too, because I definitely want to give women, you know, a platform to be in this industry and compete, and, you know, and be top notch. But I think, you know, with us and the level of products that we're rolling out and the partnerships we're creating and keeping, you know, we look to be in a top 10 commercial real estate company in the next 2 years is our goal. And I think we'll get there.
That's great.
I think we'll be over 1,000 agents, you know, by the end of this year, and really start competing in this industry.
And I guess maybe my last question is, you know, you couldn't have predicted and probably couldn't have asked for a more interesting time to really start scaling EXP Commercial with the pandemic and a lot of uncertainty, and obviously affecting the world of commercial in a way that it hasn't affected most other industries. You know, besides that, what have been some of the challenges, and what keeps you up at night as you think about your growth goals that are certainly exciting and robust, et cetera, but I'm sure there's stuff that you know does keep you up at night the same way stuff keeps me up at night as I have scaled Reonomy over the years.
You know, my husband would tell you that when I lay my head down and turn off, I'm out. I really am out. But I get up at 4 a.m. every day, and I get up because of the excitement. I get up because of the excitement, because, you know, we're not just building a brokerage, we're truly building this global conglomerate. You can't not be excited about it. And, you know, like I said, this is right now, there's so many opportunities happening. I'm having so many conversations with some massive industry leaders. And when we see brokerages, whole entire brokerages that have been in existence for 40 years, bringing their business to EXP Commercial, you cannot not just be excited for it. And so, you know, I don't worry about anything, because, you know, we're on this rocket ship of greatness. You know, we're not going to get 100% of everything right, but our team and our operations team specifically, and Jim Wong and everyone at EXP World Holdings, from the CEOs to the CFOs and the founder, Glenn Sanford, they 100%, we have their support. And again, we're not just building a commercial real estate brokerage. We're building a global conglomerate, and it's a mission. It is a mission to turn commercial real estate on its head and let's think about it in a different way. And, let's be innovators. Let's not let residential have all the great stuff that goes on. You know what I mean? Like they're ahead of us. They're so far ahead of us. So there's no reason we can't be at that same level and even surpass it. And with the way we think, that's what we're going to do. I can't speak to the rest of the industry, but that's what eXp Commercial is going to do.
That's great. It's so exciting, and we're proud and honored and excited to be a part along the journey. This has been fantastic, Stephanie. Always bringing the energy, and I appreciate all the pearls of wisdom that you shared with all the attendees. As I mentioned, we got a lot of questions around Reonomy. It is obviously available to eXp Commercial agents. If you're an agent or a broker, you can close your ears for this one, Stephanie. At another firm, you can email us at info@reonomy.com and get information. But really looking forward to what the next few months and hopefully years has in store for both of us, Steph.
Absolutely. I look forward to it too, as we both evolve and grow in this industry.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for attending.